Hey everyone, the Nothing Ear 2 have been massively updated, not just in color, but in features as well. Better battery life, connectivity, noise cancelling, strength, and the biggest out of all the updates, the advanced EQ customization. Now, if you watched my original Nothing Ear 2 review, you'll know that I love these earbuds, but I wasn't able to test all of the features since I didn't have a phone compatible with LHDC, which is a codec that is supposed to provide better latency and audio quality. So specifically for this video, I bought myself a Nothing Phone 1 so I can test how well the earbuds pair with their own brand of phone. But let's start with the most noticeable change, the new coat of black paint. And I think the buds look so much better in black. I wasn't really a lover of the earbuds design in the first place, but it has grown on me. But the buds in black are just slick, easily my favorite looking earbud. I honestly didn't think a black coat of paint would make them look so much better. And it's not just as simple as most earbuds with a new color, since these buds are transparent. A lot of effort obviously had to be put in to still make them transparent. And they aren't as transparent now, but I think that works in their favor. They look more premium and more like they just so happen to be transparent rather than trying too hard to be transparent, if that makes sense. No offense, white Nothing earbuds. Something worth noting about the case though in general is how easily that lid can get scratched. I left my original case in my gym bag for a couple of weeks. My keys and other earbuds are in there, so kind of fair it got scratched, but something to keep in mind. But now let's run through the firmware update. So this is update 1.01.101, and here is everything that has been updated so you can see. So a lot of minor updates there, but what I'm gonna focus on is the advanced EQ and the optimized noise cancelling. So let's start with the advanced EQ. It's definitely advanced, but it comes with a bit of a catch. The control that you get is unmatched. You get 8 bands of EQ in total. In each of those 8 bands, you can adjust the frequency that you are increasing or decreasing, and you can adjust this increase and decrease in half decibel amounts. But they take it to the next level with the Q factor customization. Now, what is a Q factor? Because I never really understood it that well until I used this EQ. Here's a definition of a Q factor. The Q factor is a ratio of the frequency width to the central frequency. So a smaller Q means a narrower range of frequencies and a larger Q means a wider range of frequencies. For me, that still didn't make complete sense, but you do get a nice visual representation in the app of what happens when you increase and decrease the Q factor. So as you increase the Q factor, you get a narrower range of frequency. If you decrease the Q factor, whatever you're adjusting on that band is going to kind of seep further into other frequencies. So you can see, pretty advanced, you get some really good freedom. I personally don't think I have enough experience with EQing with Q factors to take complete advantage of this, but if you do, then it's there for you. But even if you don't use the Q factors, you're still getting 8 bands, where before that, you were only getting 3 bands with a very minimal amount of freedom. And to top it all off, you can share your EQ presets, you can save them, take a picture of a QR code of someone else's preset and upload it to your earbuds for yourself. So great stuff overall. Now, Nothing isn't the first brand to do this. It was actually Edifier back about 2 years ago when they released the NeoBuds Pro. They had 5 bands, a Q factor, but you didn't get that visual representation. You could also share QR codes, but the Nothing app just takes it to another level. The layout is much better, but they weren't the first. Now, the only issue when you're using the advanced EQ, and this also goes for the original EQ, is that your total volume is going to be brought down by about 2 clicks. So still not terrible, because the Nothing Ear 2, even above 70, 80% volume, they go really loud. So just something to keep in mind. It also depends on what media you're listening to, what app you're using, your phone as well. But for most devices, most apps, you should be fine. Now, the next update is the optimized noise cancelling, and this is specifically when you have max noise cancelling on, which is what I always just leave on. I prefer having the maximum amount of noise cancelling at all times. So I could test this quite easily since my old pair of Nothing Ear 2, the white version, was still on the old firmware. So I was going back and forth doing my basic noise cancelling test that I always do. I chuck on my soundbar and I play simulation plane and crowd noise. So I'm getting low frequency sounds and inconsistent mid and high frequency sounds. And overall, the new update, it improves the noise cancelling by a couple of percent. I was going back and forth. It was pretty hard to notice much of a difference. In the plain noise test with that low frequency sound, I noticed no difference. But with the crowd noise test, that inconsistent high and mid frequency sound, I noticed about 5% more sound reduced. Very subtle, but better than nothing. So this small difference actually bumps up the Nothing Ear 2 from the 6th spot in my noise cancelling ranking into the tied 5th spot. So small differences in noise cancelling make a pretty big difference in terms of the ranking, because all the buds in that top like 6, 7, 8 are all super close in quality. Now let's talk about how well the Nothing Ear 2 pairs with my Nothing Phone 1. I just got the Phone 1. The Phone 2 came out, but I thought I'd just get the cheaper model for testing purposes. And really cool phone. I'm an iPhone user maybe since about 2010. So yeah, 13 years iPhone user. I tried a Google phone once, the Nexus 7 or something, and I went straight back to iPhone, but I'm pretty impressed with the Nothing phone. It's pretty slick. And I'm deep into the Apple ecosystem. Got my iPhone 12 Pro, AirPods 3, AirPods Pro 2, AirPods Pro, and a MacBook M1. Now, Nothing are a pretty new tech company, so I'm not expecting like Apple ecosystem-like features yet. They only have 2 products, so they can't even have an ecosystem, but I'm sure they will down the track. But I was expecting something, and you're kind of getting nothing. Too easy. I'll stop the nothing jokes. Wait, what jokes? Now you do get Google Fast Pair like you would on any Android device, and the app is built into the operating system, so you can quickly change settings in your Bluetooth settings rather than going into the app, but not a big thing. Apart from that, it works just like any other pair of earbuds you would use with your Android device. I'm sure we'll get things like spatial audio and an always-on voice assistant down the track. What is exclusive to the Nothing phone is the LHDC high resolution audio codec. Now, it's not specific to the Nothing phone, they just so happen to have it. Not many Android devices do use this codec. It's very similar to LDAC, high-res audio, which gives you high quality streaming. LHDC is supposed to be like LDAC, but with better latency and connectivity. But even comparing regular codecs like AAC, which is what iPhones use, or most regular Android devices will just use aptX or aptX Adaptive, comparing those two codecs to LHDC or LDAC, if you're just using regular streaming like Spotify, you're gonna notice maybe a couple of % increase in audio quality. I'm talking like 2%. If you use high quality streaming like Tidal or even Apple Music that uses lossless streaming, then you might increase that by another 1 or 2%. So a very small improvement in sound quality, but it is there if you need it, just at the cost of a bit of battery life. Generally in my test, I see about 20 to 30% less total battery when using LHDC compared to aptX or AAC. Now, the main reason I wanted to test the Nothing phone with the Nothing earbuds is to see how good the latency is, because it says it's supposed to have better latency, and this is specifically with gaming. Video latency is fine for pretty much any true RC bud today, but I was honestly pretty disappointed with the results that I got. Now, the Ear 2 do have a low latency gaming mode, which you can use on any device. So in my test on my iPhone 12 Pro and Galaxy S10e, I got around 350 milliseconds latency, which isn't terrible, but if you play games like shooters, you want to get closer to 200 milliseconds. Now, the latency is actually worse on the Nothing Phone 1. With LHDC on, as well as a low latency gaming mode on the Nothing Phone 1, I was getting about 500 milliseconds of latency. Pretty bad. So then I tested it with LHDC off, with the game mode on as well. I was getting 400 milliseconds of latency. Better, but still not great. Now, so you can hear the latency for yourself, I'm gonna leave up a quick test here of what it sounds like using just the phone, playing Call of Duty Mobile, compared to what it sounds like with the earbuds. Now, keep in mind, if you are wearing earbuds, that might affect it a little bit more, so it'd be best to listen to it with whatever speaker is on the device that you are using. So a bit of a letdown, only really a problem if you're into gaming. 400 milliseconds is still not the end of the world, but this is definitely something Nothing can work on. And one of the big factors that affects the latency is going to be the chip inside the phone. So the Nothing Phone 2 uses a newer chip, so I'm sure it's going to be better on the Phone 2. I'll test that eventually. It might even be my new phone. We shall see. Another small issue I noticed on the Nothing Phone 1 were a couple of random occurrences where the audio would start to sound very weird. The treble would sound all distorted, and then I'd have to put the earbuds back in the case or just disconnect them and reconnect them, then that would fix the problem. This happened about 4 times over the course of 2 weeks. Thought it was because I had multi-point connection on, so I had them connected to my MacBook and my Nothing phone. So I turned multi-point connection off and just had them connected to the Nothing phone only, but it still happened a couple of times. A small thing, but I honestly was expecting better performance using the Nothing buds on a Nothing phone, but I guess it's just not the case. And I'm sure if this is happening for a lot of people, Nothing are really on top of updates. They listen to their fan base, and that's why I'm always recommending the Nothing Ear 2, one of the best buds under the $150 price range. And to see how good they really are, be sure to check out this video here where I compare them to the best of the best. So check that out. In the meantime, stay picky. I'll see you in the next one. Bye now.